Brooklyn's Finest is an urban crime drama about three cops and their universes, their realities.
It's basically three short stories that are tangentially overlapping, but thematically are clearly overlapping.
There's not a lead to the movie. The movie's about Brooklyn. It's about good guys and bad guys, the light and the dark, and it's about a time and a place. And it makes you feel like you're kind of making a portrait of humanity, not of some isolated individual. And there's something thrilling about that.
I just thought it was pretty interesting, and it had a real authenticity, I thought.
I was astonished again by the cast. I kept telling Antoine every day, I mean, this cast is just extraordinary.
We have Richard Gere, Don Cheadle, Ethan Hawke, and then we have a supporting actor cast of people that generally take much bigger roles, like Ellen Barkin, for example, Wesley Snipes, Will Patton, and Vince D'Onofrio. I mean, we have a lot of talent in this film.
We didn't go to anyone twice. Those are the actors we first went to.
Just the casual scene now becomes laden with more energy and more expertise and more reality.
We risk life and limb, taking and giving money to scumbags who don't deserve it, all right? So far be it from me to wag my finger at somebody who's looking out for himself.
Sal is a man like at war with his pride. Life has been profoundly disappointing to Sal. He's worked really hard to be the man that he really dreams of being, and his life still doesn't look the way he wants it to look. He feels like a guy who's a good police officer and should have more to show than he does. But then it kind of becomes about whether or not you can do a bad thing for the wrong reason. The older you get, the more complicated the individuals you get to play. And it makes my job much more interesting.
I want my life back, Bill.
I can see that, and I'm working on it.
Please, work harder.
Tango's an undercover cop who's working with the crew out of Brooklyn, drug dealers, criminals, gangsters. And he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because his boy, who he's close with, who actually protected him and took care of him in jail, Kaz, Wesley plays, has become one of the main targets of their investigation.
I ain't gotta tell you. You already know. These streets got an expiration date on them.
Wesley's a real actor, so we have fun.
This is your first day, kid. This job takes enough out of you. Don't take it home.
My book, that's called A Coward.
Yeah, well, not much of a reader either. It's deceptive how subtle the interplay amongst men, kind of self-loathing that I think comes along with this territory, and a kind of tender heart that's at the center of it all.
We have a great chemistry together, and he has the sort of energy that was so cool for me to work off of.
I think the screenplay just allowed for explorations that I hadn't seen in the screenplay, certainly in this genre.
Come out a little hard, hands on weapons, ready to go, look like that. And then when they go, then go, you know what I mean? The more intense you are, the better.
I worked with many directors in my life. Antoine is a real filmmaker.
There's a familiarity you have when you work with people that you've worked with before that really lends itself to the arts, to do good things.
He knows what he wants, but is not afraid to be collaborative, so that's really good when you feel like you don't just have to force yourself into somebody else's vision without having some latitude and bringing some of what they hired you for, which is to flesh out a character.
It's an open process and very empowering.
One of the most important things for Antoine was to shoot the movie really in Brooklyn.
I'm glad that we were able to pull that off, and I think Antoine's eye for detail and specificity really helps bring all this stuff alive.
I think the making of the film was an event in the project.
What you see is what's real, and it only heightens the drama within the story.
People are very friendly, very open, very happy to have us there.
Everybody came out a couple of days ago, and the streets were packed with people, and so it was just really cool to have the neighborhood come out and really support us.
I don't want God's forgiveness.
I've always been drawn to dramas, and also old school New York City acting, and that's what this is. So I wanted it bad.
I think this cast in general was here to protect each other, take care of each other. There's no way this would have been shot with this quality and this speed that we have to on a short schedule without everyone really taking care of each other, trusting each other.
And I think everybody's pretty much been on board this because they believe in the material, they believe in the project, they believe that it can be something special, and that's our hope.
And it's really hard to make a really good movie, and this has a chance.